Hey everyone, welcome to the Old Boys Podcast. OG, original, the greatest, the best.
Don't be fooled by all them copycat Old Boys podcasts going around.
I'm Jared, and that's Dan over there.
Hi.
Dan is getting hammered on Labor Day.
No, I'm not hammered
Happy
yet.
super late Labor Day for everybody, because when you hear this, it won't be Labor Day anymore.
Also, this is episode 150.
Oh shit, dude, really?
Yeah. Milestone.
How time flies. What a crazy topsy-turvy world we live in.
I don't think we can call it that. But you know what I do think? I think that after I watch this film that we watched. What film did we watch?
Oh, Jesus. We watched Mom and Dad.
Mom and Dad, the new Nicolas Cage movie in which Nicolas Cage and Selma Blair play the titular mother and father.
Mom and Dad. Yep.
I have a wish now.
Wishes.
And that wish is for Nicolas Cage
Morgana
to scream children's songs into a microphone and sell them.
That would be pretty great.
To children.
Are you doing your Christopher Walken right now?
No, I'm just saying, like, because he screams, what is it, the Hokey Pokey? Does he do that one?
Randomly, yes, he does.
Yeah.
While he destroys a pool table, arguably the best scene in the movie.
I wanted him to do an entire album of just screaming children's rhymes at the top of his lungs so I can purchase it and play it in my car on my way to work.
That scene made such little sense. But again, like I said, best scene in the film. Boy.
That was probably the best scene in the film. I think you're right. Okay, Mom and Dad, 2017, I think?
Yes, that's correct.
It's basically about this unknown radio frequency / disease / nuclear test / government agency spawn that they release things into the air, and then the mothers and the fathers of the town just find it within themselves that they must need to kill their children just violently in the most insane ways possible. So it really, what it boils down to is it feels like a zombie film. Mm-hmm. Because it's kind of inexplicable, and they just have to like evade hordes of parents essentially, but they are not zombies. They're just like fully with it and are able to make us laugh every step of the way.
And the twist is the parents only want to kill their children.
Their kids.
Only them. Everyone else they act normal to, or kind of like it's like a hyper reality where they're like super happy or something. It's very weird. I mean, they function kind of normally when they're not killing their kids.
Yeah.
It's bizarre. They try to explain it as some kind of like thing that happens in the animal kingdom with pigs, where like pigs kill their own young. I think like gerbils or something do that too, where they'll eat their own young sometimes for no reason.
So do like spiders and praying mantises.
Praying mantises, yeah.
Mantises.
No, it's right. Mantises is a condition I had to go to my dermatologist about.
Okay, so Jared, what are your first impressions?
It's bad.
Really?
This is bad movie.
This is bad movie. Okay, tell me to the extent of which this movie is bad.
This is a bad movie. All right, Dan, just a bright-eyed, bushy-tailed film like this comes out, and you think it's got everything going for it. You see it, and
It's got Nicolas Cage.
Look, it's Nicolas Cage.
It's got Selma Blair.
Look at all these other great, fine actors, Look, who's doing it? Oh, Brian Taylor, the guy who did Crank and High Voltage, which arguably is like the only way you could do a sequel to Crank, and he did it so well. It was like a trauma movie. And even Gamer I liked, too. He did that movie.
I did like Gamer a lot.
And then you think Mom and Dad has to be somewhere in the same vein as what Crank was doing, right? Like that over the top, that crazy.
Uh-huh.
At least that's what I was thinking. It's like you got Nick Cage. It's some weird, crazy virus thing where they attack their kids. You get this ridiculous fucking premise. And you're like, they gotta have over the top violence. It's gotta be insane, right?
Yeah.
nah, it's just nothing happens. This movie is pretty tame.
Okay, well, they didn't show a lot of violence. I will say that they cut away from a lot of the violence. But
yes,
the
why?
implications of the violence, because it was intensely violent. They were like murdering children.
I don't know, man.
Okay,
I don't know.
We all know that there's a taboo going around that's being broken quite a bit. That just means like harm comes to children. You don't want to show it. You don't want to show it.
Crank High Voltage is a good example of how trauma you can get without actually saying this is a trauma film. And when I use that word to describe a film, it's usually because I'm describing hyperviolence to the point of it's almost unrealistic. So then you're not even upset with seeing, like, say, a man's head explode. Because it's like you smashed a watermelon. It doesn't even make any sense.
What came first, Trauma or Riccio, the story of Ricky?
I think Trauma probably is older.
That makes sense. But, like, yeah, Riccio is just fucking
Riccio is very
insane.
Trauma, yes.
If I can ever find like a streaming version of that, like if that ever comes on Amazon, guess what
we'll
we're
watch
gonna
it.
Watch? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a while
God
since I've seen
damn. It reminds me of Baki the Grappler. Anyways, we're not here to talk about that. My first impressions, I didn't like this movie. Mainly because the editing in this film and how jarring and like fast paced everything is was so annoying to me. I was like getting sick watching the film. And like from scene to scene, it was hard for me to follow what the fuck was going on. And there's not much going on in this movie. It's just jumping around really, really fucking fast. And we're over here, and then we're over here. And then we go to like a flashback. And you're like, oh, is this a flashback? Or is this happening in real life?
Yeah, that was the biggest thing for me.
What the fuck is going on, Brian Taylor?
The flashbacks are way too many, for one. And for two, very confusing. So there's so many pockets of the film that just become super confusing because he felt the need to give character backstory in the middle of very intense scenes, which really takes you out of the film a lot.
And in that one instance with the Nick Cage pool table scene was amazing. It felt out of place, but you're like, I guess I'm glad we're here, though?
Yeah.
I don't know. This is weird. It's jarring is the best word I can say. And if they wanted you to hate these characters, they did a really good job.
What, Mom and Dad?
Yes. I don't like any of the characters, like the kids especially, like that daughter. Man, they really make you hate her.
I feel like that was the purpose of this film. It's like it set out to make you not want any of the characters to survive because they were all pretty much big pieces of shit.
Yes, and I guess that plays in with the, like, you know, the mom and dad thing, how they've given up on their dreams and their hopes and their lives. That's the big theme of the movie. And it's like, oh, we have to take care of kids now. Oh. And Nick Cage is all upset because he can't be a young
motorboat while doing donuts.
Yeah, he can't motorboat a topless woman while doing donuts in a fucking hot rod.
If you don't know what that image is at all, you can't picture that in your head, don't worry. That this film kind of makes that happen at least 6 times. But
the first time they show it, you're like, are we in a different film? What the fuck is going on?
I feel like they could have found another actor that looked a little bit more like Nick Cage as that younger Nick Cage in the Trans Am.
You know what I really hate too? And this is the problem with me, probably. I don't know. And with the film, it's like, so they're trying to get you to not like some of these characters.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a smart idea to make you hate characters that you're going to be stuck with the entire film and you're supposed to care about them getting away. It's a fine line. It's difficult.
Unless, like you were saying before, you actually get to see the multitude of just layered violence, essentially.
But do you even see them get killed, though? No. That's the shitty part. So we have these unlikable characters, and then on top of that, we have the culture we're in now. I don't know why I hate it so much.
No, there's a lot to hate.
Anytime people reference like Facebook or Instagram in a film, or they're like, I'm going to do the tweets, or I'm going to scroll on my phone and ignore my parents.
Or I'm going to have the iMessage pop up on the screen.
Yeah. Well,
as part of the movie. I can't stand that. That bothers me a lot.
Yeah, but so the thing I really don't like is when people try to do, the joke is parents are trying to do references that are cool and hip. And then the kid's like, oh, so gross. Like hashtagging. It makes me want to throw up out of my eyes. I don't like it. And I think that was the point, maybe?
Right.
I don't know. And The only thing good about this movie was Nick Cage. There, I said it. That was the smartest thing the film did. Man, my first impressions are going on for a while. Dan?
Yeah, where are my first impressions?
What are your first impressions?
I'm going to milk my first impressions really long. But since they're not very long, I'm just going to talk very slowly.
Okay. Dan is doing a Zootopia reference right now, which I also hate. He's pretending to be that sloth guy.
That's actually not what I was doing, but thanks for ruining the joke.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I feel I'm indifferent. Like, listening to you bitch about it for, I don't know, how long has that been? 10 minutes now?
God.
You really kind of took away the enjoyment that I had in it, but I feel like... Okay, so I like the premise. The premise is fantastic.
Premise is great. You're right. I like the premise.
That alone got me through the movie really well. There was a lot of really funny moments that were either intentionally funny or unintentionally funny. I don't know which. I don't care which. I was laughing at it. And the third thing is, I feel like this is a great social commentary on people who are like my parents, who are trying to fit in to like this millennial, because the millennials are like 1980 onward, right? 1981 onward.
Yes.
But all the parents who are, trying to fit in with the technology, and they're just at the point where they can grasp it, but at the same time they are flailing miserably because they can't quite keep up with everybody who's the new world, essentially. So it's a really interesting social critique. Would I watch it again? Probably not.
No.
I do agree with the fact that, the violence could have been more, and I do agree with the fact that nobody likes any of the characters. I liked Mom and Dad quite a bit. I thought they were excellent. Those are the characters. I like them a lot.
Yes. I thought they did a good job.
So their development and their acting were just fantastic.
Yeah, I agree.
They
were good.
The ones that we had to identify with, which are the teenagers, they kind of suck.
Shitty kids.
Except for, I don't know what his name is, but the boyfriend, who is probably the best character in the movie because...
Is he?
He's like a rag doll in which he's just abused and tormented and always comes back.
It doesn't make any fucking sense. If in a film I have to say what the fuck is happening or what the fuck are we doing over and over again, it's probably not a good film.
Okay, so this is another thing too. Like, we are coming right off of watching an intense film like Enemy, right?
Yeah.
This film is nowhere near as sophisticated and complex as Enemy is. This is just good old-fashioned, just balls to the wall, over-the-topness. But I agree with your critique. It could have been more over the top, if that's what he was going for.
Yeah. I feel like the film could have even been less complex. They really tried to add layers on or really put a bow right on the end of that, the film to really sum up what's going on. It's like, it's pretty fucking obvious. We can all figure it out. So like you were saying, like the parents feel alienated that they're not their young selves. They're jealous of their kids for just being carefree or doing whatever they want. And they feel weird about being in this new technological age. All that stuff. I get all that. Now have Nick Cage fucking take an axe to a door. Like I want them to go fucking out of control.
That whole scene was bordering reminiscent on The Shining. Uh-huh. If it was an axe, it would have been like, all right, come on.
Dan,
what?
I think it would be best if we just get into this film.
Well, let's get into this
and smash it up real good. What do we got going on, Dan? What the fuck?
We already know the premise. The kids go to school. The parents just start attacking. Invasion of the Body Snatchers, but with violent parents and Night of the Living Dead. What? How many films can this film be? We have Night of the Living Dead. We have Day of the Dead. We have Pontypool. We have The Signal. Just so many films that this film is just drawing off of. Is there a film where like parents want to murder their children? Yeah, The Shining. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I only have that on the brain because I watched The Shining over the weekend.
Oh, nice.
Randomly. It was on BBC. On cable television.
Weird. You know what I watched recently?
What?
Dune.
Really?
I watched Dune recently. movie doesn't hold up in some places.
Yeah, I was going to say, moves. Speaking of films that I would probably not watch ever again. Except for maybe like 3 scenes I want to see.
The last half of Dune is not good. And the action scenes are fucking terrible.
They're so bad. But the only scene I ever want to see is whenever Kyle MacLachlan is screaming at the top of his lungs.
The sleeper has awakened! He says, okay, I'm going to say the line that he says, Dan. He says it so much, I was laughing every time he said it because it's so dumb.
The spice is the worm. Is that what it is?
No.
The worm is the spice?
He goes, Arrakis, Dune, desert planet. And he says that over and over and over again, like at least 10 times in the film. And at first you think he's saying it like in a dream before he goes to Dune. And you're like, oh, he's just thinking about Dune. But then he starts saying it when he's on Dune. I'm like, dude, you're there. Arrakis, Dune, desert planet. You're like, yes, we all know this. Holy shit. They should have made that film 2 films. Anyways,
they should have.
It's a good movie. I like it, but it's rough.
Mom and Dad. Can we start talking about Mom and Dad? Mom and Dad.
Yes, I guess Mom and Dad. So Kyle MacLachlan stars as this prince, right? But he's the chosen one.
Wait, think about Kyle MacLachlan in Nicolas Cage's role.
That would be great.
Don't you think he would have pulled it off really well?
Kyle MacLachlan should have played the little boy, Josh. I would have liked that. And he's like him hiding under the bed with the mask on. He's like, Mommy and Daddy are acting crazy.
Kyle MacLachlan as Agent Dale Cooper as little boy.
Did you ever watch the new Twin Peaks?
Not yet. I want to.
Oh, God. Well, that's a whole nother podcast.
You are stalling.
I'm not stalling. All right, characters. We have Nick Cage. He's Brent. No one's going to call him Brent.
Is it Liar? What's his last name?
He's not even listed. It's just Brent.
Well, like the maid says it in a very broken Chinese accent.
Yeah, I'm not even going to touch that. The housekeeper lady.
But the housekeeper, okay, the housekeeper lady is where it starts.
That whole scene, I didn't get what's going. So we have this opening scene where we have Brent and Kendall, which is Nick Cage and Selma Blair, and we have Carly, who's the little, the daughter, which was kind of just daughter, and then the little boy Josh, who's like almost has no role in the film and no personality. He's just there for the daughter to just have someone to protect, so we kind of care about her because this kid is innocent. I thought that was kind of lame.
The kid is a felon. He stole his father's gun.
Oh, yeah,
paraded it around in his underwear.
So he stole his father's gun. He had a cool scene that was kind of like Taxi Driver. I don't know if that's what they were going for.
That's
but it's
exactly
like
what they're going for. And whenever you said cool, I say nay.
You didn't like it?
I thought it was really fucking dumb.
It made me very uncomfortable because seeing a little kid with a gun freaked me out. Just because of how dangerous it was. But it was interesting, at least. And I guess they do have a little scene with Josh and his dad. We'll get to that, I guess. I don't know. So then we have those characters. We have the family. We have the daughter's boyfriend, Damon. And we have...
Riley.
Who's Riley?
Riley is the best friend.
Of the mom?
No, of...
of the daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. Someone else to die. And then... and then we have the housekeeper and her daughter, which is just someone else to die, too. Nick Cage. We got Nick Cage. What's his deal? He feels inadequate and that he's not really a man anymore and wants to live like he used to when he was a kid, as we described, which would be doing donuts in a hot rod with a naked girl, boobies in his face. He misses that, and he misses his old life. But now he's just a stupid businessman.
The logistics of the scene, in which he does donuts with boobs in his face and he's motorboating them.
We've all been there.
Don't make sense. Have we all been there? Because I feel like if we've all been there, we'd all be dead.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I almost want to say that this scene is not necessarily real. It's just like a fucking allegory for what he thought his childhood was. Where it's like the most insane thing that you can think of in terms of just awesomeness and sex. It's just doing donuts in the parking lot with the girl's boobs in your face.
That makes sense, but then also you have to consider this. It's Nick Cage. So
It is
I'm
Nick
assuming
Cage. This is
Nick Cage has
autobiographical?
done this in real life.
Yes.
And it probably came from his memoir. He's like, let me just open up my book here of things I've done.
Hey, Brian. A little note about being a director. Could you please consider my character doing this? I feel like this is the best thing.
Let's see. What have I done? Let's see. Attacked by bees. No, we can't do that. Turn my head into a flaming motorcycle demon. No, I've done that before.
Hunt down the Declaration of Independence. No.
Found all the national treasures. That was an easy one, anyways. He's fucking Nick Cage. He's done it all.
Still 60 cars in 60 seconds. I think I can do that again, maybe.
Gone in a few minutes. It wasn't 60 seconds. It was actually a few minutes. So we got him, and we got the mom who feels... Well, it's her career, right? That she wants to be a career woman and do it for herself. And she kind of feels weary of like going and trying to maintain her body when she's like, what's the fucking point anyways? And I don't know. She kind of feels trapped. And did you get what career she was trying to spark?
She was trying to go back to her old career, which I don't even know what that was. I have no idea.
They didn't even explain it. So we have a scene with her meeting with some guy.
No, it was her old boss. And she's like, hey, you said if I ever need to come back, then you're going to come hire me back.
He was like, that was 15 years ago.
And she's like, yeah, hence ever. And here I am. And then he like makes eyes at a younger secretary and was like, nope, sorry. Have a good life, basically.
Well, what was weird is it felt heavily implied that they were going to fuck. Like, I thought she was on a date with this dude. He was going to like cheat on her husband.
Right.
And then it doesn't happen. So it was like the old job almost meant her being like her infidelity almost. And then that kind of just went away. It was confusing. And then we got Nick Cage just smashing up fucking pool tables because he's all upset. God, this movie is so hard to like chronologically talk about because it's so fucking all over the place. I really don't know where to go with this film. So it's like we got that weird breakfast scene. Can you even describe it?
No.
I wouldn't be able to. Like,
I don't remember this weird breakfast scene.
I can't even tell you what they were talking about or what happened in that scene.
So here's what we're gonna do. The daughter goes to school and mom is like trying to drop her off and she's like, you never connect with me anymore. And then the daughter's like, whatever, mom. And then she goes to school. Then it cuts back to Nick Cage like having a roughhouse session with his son. But then there's this really weird scene where he kind of like freezes and like looks at his son like he's gonna, go all Jack Nicholson on him.
He does that a few times.
He does it a few times. And like the first two are a couple like, fake outs. It's like, oh, we know it's coming. Can't wait. Right.
Yeah.
And then it cuts back to the school where the daughter is like buying drugs with her mom's money that she stole for her best friend who.
Yeah. And the movie treats us like fucking idiots because the mom is like talking with her friend Starbucksing or whatever after her weird yoga class. And she's like,
why was it weird, like, Jared? I feel like that's how yoga classes go. What was so strange about it?
I think the music in this film threw me off a lot.
Oh, you mean the music composed by Mr. Bill? Mr. Bill is what the composer is credited as. I'll tell you what, audience. I was going to make up a character for Mr. Bill because of how fucking pretentious you have to be called Mr. Bill in the credits. But I decided against that because it would just give him too much notoriety. Because like I remember that so distinctly. His name is Mr. Bill. And the only Bill in the music department is Bill James Day. So if he is credited as Mr. Bill, like, really? Are you fucking serious? I
cannot stress how much the music and the editing ruined this movie for me. It's so bad and confusing. Like, it's I'm trying my best. So in the classroom scene, I'm even more confused. It was like them typing on their phones. Oh no, it was a girl listening to a song, right? And we cut and we're like listening to the song. She's listening to it. The teacher comes up and takes the earphones out of her ear, cuts the song off that we were all hearing. He takes the phone. He goes up to his desk. He's like typing on the phone and then like texts the main character, and he just, I have your phone too. And then he starts talking about the weird pig theory about like how pigs eat their own young.
No, he was talking about planned obsolescence, which, by the way, I'm a high school teacher. I fucking talked about that. They stole that from me. I know it. I feel like I'm the only one that talks about planned obsolescence. Except I learned it from film school. So this guy, Brian Taylor, probably is like, oh, I'm going to talk about something I learned in college and put it into film and make a really big statement. Whenever, in all actuality, it's like...
Brian Taylor?
Yeah. Brian Taylor.
Was that you? Where did Brian Taylor go? He was just here. That was weird.
Oh.
Man.
I don't know where he went. It was weird. You're right.
Oh, look at me, I'm Brian Taylor. Like that's our impersonation of him. Oh, look at me. Really.
Where are we?
Cut to flashback.
I feel like, yeah, okay, we're cutting a flashback. Interior, dark cavern is...
Oh.
Interior womb.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah, a lot of womb shots in Dune, by the way. A lot of womb shots. Like where you see inside a woman's stomach and you see the baby in there, and it's like, what the fuck is going on? Man, that movie is weird as shit.
Well, I feel like it's like trying to be that one fucking movie, the 2001.
Yeah, it kind of has that vibe a little bit.
But then David Lynch also has like, why are we... okay, you are stalling.
Because Dune is way more fun to talk about.
Than Mom and Dad? Mom and Dune? Dune and Mom?
Mom and Dune! Dude, the spice must flow. The tweets must flow.
The spice must flow into Mom and Dune.
Mom, Dune, Desert Planet.
Dune, where's my car?
No! Okay, flashback, I guess. We got the little kid. He finds something that's being eaten by birds. So you would think it's dead, right?
Right.
Whatever it is. They never show it. He puts it in a box and puts it in his dad's muscle car. Why?
Why not?
And then he tries to feed it cereal.
Yeah.
But it's dead. He's a 10-year-old boy.
Okay, so here's the only... Is he really supposed to be 10?
I don't know. He's like...
Because he's staying home from school. That tells me that he should be like a toddler. But he's way too...
not a toddler. All right, 6 or 7 maybe.
Question number 1.
Sure.
Should 6 and 7-year-olds be in school during the times that high schoolers should be in school?
I have no fucking
They
idea.
should. They should, because 6 and 7-year-olds are like right around, first, second grade. Question number 2. Have you ever met a child who is growing up and trying to be...
Yes.
Well, but growing up and trying to be his own individual person at 6 or 7/10 years old who still wears like fucking truck pajamas or whatever he was wearing?
And like superhero masks? I don't know. I was doing some dumb shit as a kid. Who knows? I feel like thinking about my childhood was so far away and I'm not even that person anymore. It's hard to even remember what the fuck happened. It was like a dream within a dream.
I feel like that's a quote from Dune. No, it's a quote from somewhere else. I don't know what it is, though.
It's Blue Velvet.
Yeah. So it's still Lynch. Still Lynch. You know what a love letter is? It's a bullet from a gun, motherfucker.
You want a Heineken? Get this man a Heineken. Well, I forget. Is that the drink he's drinking?
Yeah, he likes Heineken. No. He's Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Oh, a couple of PBRs. Okay, so this asshole kid, I just don't get... And then he checks the box and there's flies in it, and then that's when he realizes that the animal is dead. The animal's been dead for a while, dummy.
Okay, can I go back to my first impressions here? I feel like it's worth saying this out loud. It's not even first impressions. We'll call it second impressions. Before the final thoughts, my second impressions of the film is the more you reference other films, the more I want to talk about those other films, and that's making me realize how shitty this film is.
Yes, it's not fun to talk about.
Oh my god.
And it's almost impossible to talk about. This film is so random and all over the place. It's just like we can talk about like a thing that happened, I guess.
Well, let's talk about some things. We're stumbling through whatever the fuck it is that you're doing, so let's just skip it. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, I was trying to describe the movie. All right, well, here's a thing. Why does this family have to have a housekeeper?
That's a good question. So we were asking all these questions about how, why did they have a housekeeper? It doesn't make any sense other than just to up the body count, right?
Yeah, so she can kill her daughter, which is like, she has like one scene.
That's the first one that we actually see die, or that's like super implied that they die. Let's talk first about the best scene in the film.
Okay.
Because there's 2 scenes in the film that are golden. If you could, please. Because I will take the second one. Because I don't think you appreciate the second one as much as I do. Because you haven't even brought it up.
Okay, so at this point in the film, the mom and dad have both gone crazy, right?
Correct.
They are in their house attacking the kids, and the dad is confronting the boyfriend who's there, and he is trying to like stop him from killing the daughter, and he gets knocked out.
Right.
And the daughter and the little boy both run to the basement to hide. And when he's going to go attack them, we're like interrupted with this pool table scene. And he goes downstairs into this basement in the flashback. He builds this pool table. He takes forever leveling it and making it cool. And then his wife comes down there to see him. And he's like, what are you doing down here? You don't even like pool. Why are you making a pool table? And I'm like, that's a great question, actually. If I didn't like something, I wouldn't want to build it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's really bizarre. Why wouldn't they have him do something that's like a hobby of his that he had to give up as like a younger man? Why make him do pool when he hates it? And he's like, you know what, honey? You're right. I'm going to fucking smash this shit up. So he starts singing. He does the crazy nursery rhyme and destroys the whole thing. And then they have this waxing monologue with them. Like, they each get their own little, like, spot in the sun. It's very obvious that they have... Like, this is where you kind of say how you feel about parenting and being the mom and dad. And they even do a title drop. And it's just like, I mean, was I supposed to like this scene? I forget.
Well, okay, I liked it. Like, this was a permissible title drop for me. Because of how they said it in the context of what was happening.
Uh-huh.
Because there was a moment where I'm like sinking. I'm like, oh, I can't believe they did that. But the more I thought about it, then I'm like, I
mean, it wasn't the worst.
Maybe this title came from this specific monologue. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed the monologues that they gave. It gave the scene a sense of completion to me.
It felt out of place, but it was
did.
Also the better part of the film.
Yeah,
that's
it was
only
completely...
because I like those actors, and I'd rather listen to them than anyone else in the movie, because they're all bad.
Exactly.
Continue.
So, yeah, just basically that's the best scene in the film, right?
Yeah.
Here's the second best scene in the film.
Okay.
We're going to rewind a little bit, because you actually said what I was going to say. There's this, it's 2 seconds of screen time, but it's fucking glorious. So whenever Randall, or whatever the fuck his name is, Damon...
The boyfriend, yeah.
The boyfriend, Randall or Damon, one of the two, it's gotta be one of those,
Randleman.
Right? Randleman.
Everyone's got weird names in this movie, and they even make fun of how weird their names are.
Yeah, Kendall, like at the very end, like Nick Cage's mom is like, that's not even a real name.
That's the best part of the movie,
That
dude.
is the best part of the movie. So aside from him like beating the shit out of the pool table, this is Nick Cage's best 2 seconds of screen time. It's where Damon is trying to protect his girlfriend or the daughter, and Nick Cage like bashes him up against this like big curio cabinet thing or whatever the fuck it is, like a some kind of shelf, and then the film takes care to kind of slow down the moment in time where he raises his hand to smack this kid's head in the ground, and then you can see like it's a bird's eye view of him looking at his hand and smiling up at it. So he's smiling into the camera as he's bringing his hand down to smack this kid, and he just hits this kid as hard as he can, and blood comes out.
Oh,
it's like,
he does like the 100 palm strike.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And I had to rewind that like 3 times. I'm like, did I just see what I think I saw? And like, yeah, he is like winking at the camera, essentially. He's not literally winking, but he might as well be.
How does the virus work? Because he's hurting someone that's...
getting in the way.
I guess. So if they get in the way of them killing, they'll hurt that person too? I guess. I don't know. So then like this kid, the boyfriend gets knocked out so many fucking times. He gets his head slammed into tile.
Yeah,
really fucking
ground,
hard.
Gets thrown off the 2nd story.
And like hits stairs. Not like rolling down the stairs, like it's flung.
is flung off the stairs, hits
like a rag doll.
2 things twice, and then he still gets up from that and is able to save the day at the end.
One of the dumber scenes too is when the mom is trapped in the closet and that coat hanger goes into the boyfriend's mouth. Oh yeah. My God. And they're laughing. So there's a moment where they trap the mom in a closet and they start laughing about...
It's not always this bad.
It's the worst fucking scene in the movie.
Now, do you think that's out of place?
Yes.
I think that was out of place tonally, whereas the other one was out of place narratively, but it still fit the tone of the film really well.
How can it? Can it fit the tone if it's out of
tone? No, because no, out of place in terms of, because like, okay, so the Nick Cage scene, it still fit tonally because the attitude being conveyed here is very violent. Whereas this scene was like, okay, we're in the clear and we're going to laugh about it. But it went on for way too long. Yes.
What were we supposed to feel during that moment of them giggling?
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't make sense tonally because the whole film sets up a completely different idea. A completely different feeling that you're supposed to have throughout the entire thing. And then this moment just is very out of place. So I thought this part was more out of place than the hokey pokey.
But how does a wire hanger go into your mouth like that? Like, the lady could only use her wrists. So she had her arm out, but it was just mainly her wrist.
Well,
and she somehow stabbed a wire hanger. That was trauma. But that's the only time it happens in the movie.
This was before trauma.
No, I'm saying it's very trauma-esque of
but it's also very before trauma-esque because there's a scene at the end of Halloween in 1978 in which Laurie Strode stabs Michael Myers with the coat hanger in that exact same fashion.
Silly. Then that's silly then. It just wouldn't happen that way. You would have to use a lot of force, and there's no way that lady could do that. And I know you're like, well, what's a movie, Jared? What's your problem? But it's stupid. And I would be fine with it if the whole movie was that dumb. But they really take a lot of things seriously at points when you're just kind of like, what film are you trying to make? I don't understand.
Okay, so let's get into... Here's the game plan, just to round us out here.
Okay.
I feel like this is going to be a good game plan. We're going to talk about that last scene that you said is the best scene in the movie with the parents.
Sure.
Right? And then you're going to start giving me the ways you would fix this film, because I am very curious.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so it's established very early on in the film that Nick Cage's parents are coming over for dinner.
Yes.
They come over for dinner. And guess what?
Pretty great.
They are a mom and a dad to Nick Cage. Therefore, they're going to want to kill Nick Cage. Who plays Nick Cage's dad?
I don't know his name.
He looks familiar. Yeah, Lance Henriksen, you motherfucker.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Don't yell at me.
Okay, we're going to take that again, just so you don't get embarrassed. Who plays Nick Cage's dad?
Danny DeVito.
Perfect. How fucking ridiculous would this movie be? Okay.
I mean, I like Lance Henriksen, but I don't know his name. I just know his face.
Lance Henriksen is probably the best choice to be. Like, so essentially, as soon as he opens the door, Nick Cage gets maced in the face by his mom, and then Lance Henriksen tries to stab him with like a little pocket knife. So, tell me what you liked about the scene. So
they set it up, and then when the mom and dad are about to kill the boy and girl, because they finally get together again after getting attacked, they're going to use the all saw, or whatever it's called. It saws all. Haha, all saw. It saws all. They say that over and over again. It's this big, it's like really shitty motorized saw they're going to cut him with. And they sit there for so fucking long, and it's like, just fucking kill him already. And then they hear ding dong, and it's like, oh, my parents are here. And I'm like, oh, this is fucking rad. Because he opens the door and goes, oh, hey, mom and dad, we weren't expecting you. And then they just have this all-out brawl where Lance Henriksen and Nick Cage are... And like, Nick Cage is trying to get away from him because he doesn't have the instinct to kill his dad. But his grandfather or his dad or whatever is like stabbing him with a knife. And they're fighting in the garage, which I thought was cool too. And like the little kid is there trying to avoid the car. I liked all of that with like them fighting. And then it was a little weird because like the mom kind of comes to a bit and is like, you don't want to hurt your family.
Family.
And like the mom shit talks her and like, tells her she's awful and her name is awful. And like pepper sprays her in the face or something. I don't know. It was a decent action scene. I like the idea of the grandparents trying to kill the mom and dad, and the mom and dad is, after they take care of them, after they both die, they're like, oh, now we got to go kill our kids. Like, they immediately snap back into like, oh, let's go kill our kids. It was much needed. I don't know. I just enjoyed the idea, I guess. There's a few things I did want to get into quickly. It's part of like us fixing, or not even fixing, I don't know. So the scene at the school,
okay,
where the parents are like behind that fence and all the kids are like, what's going on? And the teachers are like, eh. And the cops are trying to stop the kids from going to the parents. So there's a scene where a little boy runs up, right? And gets past the barricade, and he jumps over the fence to get to his mom. It would have been amazing if like the parents just like ripped him apart like a zombie movie.
Yeah.
Or like something else besides like almost an off-screen stabbing.
Or, yeah, because it was an off-screen stabbing with a key. What should have happened is they should have pulled him through that small opening in the fence.
Yeah, something. Like just ripped him apart. Like go fucking insane. And that scene with the barricade and everything went on for so fucking long. I was like, what are we doing? I was getting frustrated with that moment. I was like, can we get on to the next thing? Like, this is ridiculous. And then when the parents are chasing them, it was, I don't know why it felt so boring to me of them, like, the parents killing the kids. They're running through the football field. It's just, all of that was like just drab to me. I don't know. So, and then we have that other scene with the annoying friend of the daughter. They go to her house, which is like a really fucking nice house. And she's like, let's do drugs and drink alcohol. When like there's like mass hysteria going on. It's a state of emergency. And she's like, let's do drugs.
What's wrong with that?
The daughter is like, no, that's crazy. So then the daughter's friend goes upstairs and the mom just kind of like strangles her. I don't know. It was like the kills in this movie are boring is what I'll say. They were just lame.
I agree with that.
And the consistency of the static TV is weird too, because like sometimes that's what triggers people. Other times it just happens, and you're like, I don't know. And I don't know. That was bizarre. One thing I will say I liked is the boyfriend. His dad is like a drunk alcoholic who beats him anyways. So when his dad starts punching him, he kind of expects it. He's like, well, he's like, come on, Dad, like. Come on, what the fuck? He just thinks he's going to beat him around or whatever. And he breaks that bottle and he's going to stab him. Like, that was a cool scene.
It was. But then that just reminds you that the premise of this film could have been handled so much more. And so it wouldn't be so trauma-esque. It would have been more like really intense thriller. You know, like this film could have been a very good. So
you think maybe take itself more seriously?
Yeah, if it were to take itself seriously.
If it played it really straight. Like 100% straight.
The premise itself is like fucking stupid. Like it's stupid funny. But if it were playing it straight, that premise could very easily become horrifying.
Just like in The Similars, like how that film, everyone played it very straight, but everyone was just turning into this one guy.
Yeah.
It's like a ridiculous premise. But I loved it because everyone was like very serious about what was going on. I can understand that. Another scene is there is a setup of the mom's sister is having a baby. Mm-hmm. And this evoked thoughts of Freddy Got Fingered. I don't know if you remember that film very well. Where Tom Green delivers a baby and flings the baby around on the umbilical cord while a woman chants. It's that scene that's a movie that takes itself to the extreme for the benefit of the film. Right. I actually like that film, even though it's widely considered to be terrible. In that moment, there's tension, right?
Right.
The music and the way it's acted, it's not telling you that there's tension. It still treats it as like, this is a beautiful moment of this lady has given birth to this baby, and she's holding the baby in her arms. And that, like, the trigger wasn't as scary. Like, there was tension for me because I was like, I know the premise of the film, I guess. But when she finally decides to hurt the baby, I don't even know what she tries to do. I think she tries to, like, choke it or something. Mm-hmm. I think what the issue was is that they had a real baby in a lot of scenes. And they're like, they just tried to take the baby away from her. And like, the the main character mom takes the baby, she falls back, and like the lady who just gave birth is like trying to run towards her and kill her or kill the child. And it's interesting, but do you think that would have worked better if it was more extreme? Or is it like too much? It's like, okay, here's my argument. Why even have this scene if you're not going to go over the top with it? You're already implying that a mother's going to kill her own baby.
Right.
It would have been difficult to watch, but it would have been engaging. I would have been like, holy shit, that was fucking crazy. You know, like something, I would have felt anything besides bored. I'm just like, what is going on? It's like, and then when they have that scene of,
because like the way they would have been able to handle that was just like cartoon level violence.
Yes,
like,
that's trauma to me. Yeah, the key is not being realistic.
Exactly.
That's
which
the
is
key.
why you need
that is what trauma
element.
is to me. Hyperviolence without realism would have, and that reminds me heavily, like I said again, of Crank High Voltage. That movie was like not in the realm of reality. It was I don't, what's the word? Hyper realistic, I guess. Mm-hmm. So, was there anything else in the movie you would like to talk about?
No, like I literally said everything I wanted to say
Before I locked myself into a closet.
Right.
Oh, I have another scene actually. So,
Okay,
the parents have the children locked in a basement, and the kids have a gun. It's established. That's why they can't go in there and just kill them. So their big plan, in quotes, is to hook up the gas line to a hose and put it through the vent so that it's feeding in gas into the basement, right? Okay, it's a decent plan. They're going to make them pass out or die, and then they're going to sneak in and kill them. Here's the problem. If you're filling your house with gas, it's going to go under the door of the basement door and fill the rest of the house with gas. Mm-hmm. And everyone's going to fucking die a silent death. Okay? The parents don't take any precautions to like protect themselves from the gas. That's really silly. They should have thought of that. What was fun, the teenager girl, she rigs up this device. She finally realizes that it's gas coming into the room. She sets up a device where she has a matchbox, the striker, you know, and she has the matches taped to the door. So then when the door opens, it lights the matches, which I thought was really cool. The way they filmed that, also not very good. Because you would think like in an action movie, how they would do it is one quick motion of the matches would hit the striker and then it would spark and then you'd cut to an explosion.
Why are you thinking that, Jared? Remember how the editing pisses you off?
Yeah.
So the whole time the editing is like very jarring, except for this one scene where they make you see every little step. But then what makes me mad about this scene is like it's unwarranted on her part, but then at the same time, how you said it makes no sense that the parents took no precautions themselves. This is basically if you pit Wile E. Coyote against himself.
Yeah.
It's like they both have these extremely convoluted plans that are going to ruin as soon as they go into
and
play.
Something that should have been the best part of the movie, like this explosion scene and like this cool match lighting. Like I said, the editing made it so terrible. It's like they showed the match trying to light like 3 times. I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Right.
Just explode already. So then when Nick Cage opens the door, this really half-assed, stupid, it was like a fart explosion comes out and hits him in the face. This was shot so terribly. Because you think about it, an entire basement is full of explosive gas.
Right.
The entire house would explode, Dan.
Yeah.
It would. It just would. Everyone would be dead. Even though the kids escaped and they're like in the attic, they'd probably be dead too. Like everyone would just be exploded. The whole house would fall on itself. But what happens to Nick Cage? He gets some Cheerios on his face. Next time we see, he's got he's got soot on his face like he was a chimney sweep, and he just got out of a Mary Poppins film or some shit, and he's got a little Cheerios on him, and he's like, "Oh, I'm all burned up, I guess." And you're like, "No, you look fine, actually."
Right.
It's so dumb. They do that a lot. Where there's these great scenes of like the daughter's friend goes upstairs and her mom is there, and it's like, oh, what's the cool way she's gonna kill her? And it's just, oh, I just strangles her. I don't know. Could have been like, I don't know, something to do with Starbucks. Who knows? Like something to do with the mom.
Right.
Like Death by Yoga or something.
I agree with that as well. Oh, yeah, Death by Yoga. Mm.
You know, in Dark Forest, they kind of make the kills around the theme, like when the guy is going to propose to somebody, they work that into how he dies. Like, it's through the proposal. Just do something like that. I know it's silly, but it's fun. If you have a horror movie where everybody just gets stabbed in the stomach over and over again, it's boring as shit. What was the movie? Oh, I watched Night of the Lepus.
Oh, I love that movie.
Is that sarcasm?
No, it's like, but I love it for a very specific reason.
Yes, I mean, it's a funny movie to watch. Watch it with riff tracks if you can.
The first time I ever watched Night of the Lepus, I was a child, and it
really?
terrified me. This kind of fits into this subgenre of horror film that I have dubbed The Attack of the Mundane Creatures, and it starts with Alfred Hitchcock in 1963 whenever he did The Birds. But then 10 years later, in 1973, you and I both watched Frogs, and then we have things
I love
like
that movie.
Slither, like the Slug movie or whatever. And there's so many films now after Birds that are just like, let's just take the most ridiculous creature and put it up against the world, and they take over and start killing people.
Yes. Frogs and Slugs, legit good.
Yeah. Night of the Lepus tries to do that with bunny rabbits, but they actually put a relatively, sci-fi tropish story where it's like they're experiments where the rabbits get very big and they get released, and now there's gigantic rabbits everywhere.
I don't even know why I brought up Night of the Lepus. I can't remember. Also reminds me of Dune because they have overlong extended scenes of the same shots happening over and over again.
Right.
Of like the bunnies going across like a fake.
Which, that's the best scene in the film because it's played over and over and over again because they only filmed it once. And if you look very carefully in two scenes, they forget to cut out the guy, the ranch hand, in the very back who's a giant man because they're filming all of this very close up. So there's two scenes that's the same exact scene, but there's a giant man in the background. It's so fun.
So they use like a model of like a farm and just put bunnies on it to make them look giant. It's fantastic. Terrible movie, but I highly recommend it.
I recommend
Anyways,
it too.
I think that covers everything I wanted to talk about.
I think so.
Dan, what is your final thoughts on this movie?
My final thoughts is this film unexpectedly just took the energy out of this podcast. Like,
God,
I thought it was. I apologize. We're gonna punch this thing up post, hopefully as best we can. But I was thinking that this film was gonna be like, just
high energy,
ripping us up. Yeah, high energy. Because like you would
whoa.
think so, but yeah, like the more Jared talked about it, the more I realized that there's nothing for me to salvage here.
This film is draining on how unfun it is.
I'm going to put all the blame, not on Brian Taylor, not on Nicolas Cage.
On me.
Not on Sullivan Blair. No, not even for you.
Oh.
On that motherfucker, Mr. Bill, for making all that fucking shitty music and labeling himself as Mr. Bill.
I mean, the script isn't that bad.
No, the original story is great. The original story is fantastic.
Oh, that's fine. It's just something with the editing and the way this movie goes about what it wants to do.
Who's the editor
Not
in
fun.
this film? Throw some shade on his ass.
Oh no, don't.
I'm just kidding. Mr. Bill, if you go score another movie, that'd be cool. I don't want to take everything away from you, but go by your name instead of Mr. Bill, please.
So Dan, I think you got a film you want to assign, right?
I have a choice of 3 because, listeners, next week, ideally, hopefully, if we edit correctly, next week marks the first week of Spookoween, Spooktober, Spookstravaganza.
Oh no,
where we assign one horror film per week of Spookoween, Tober, Stravaganza, pumpkin beer. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to give you, Jared, a choice between 3 films.
Night of Lepus.
2 of which are on Netflix, one of which is on Amazon Prime. I found one of them has been in my queue for I don't fucking know how long.
Cleaning House?
Since the day I had Netflix, I wanted to watch this film, or I had the idea to watch it. So we have that one that's been in my queue forever, and is... No, because you may have seen it too, or at
Give
least...
me hints, you motherfucker.
It has Corey Feldman in it.
All right, I like that so far. Let's continue.
The next one is kind of newer to Netflix. It has the girl from one of the redneck girls from The Walking Dead, and it has a doll-like boy in it.
Okay.
And then the other one is, remember whenever we watched a film called Dark?
Yes.
And then the title to our episode was Deep Dark Hurting.
Uh-huh.
I found a film on Amazon Prime called Deep Dark.
No way.
So, would you like to hear the plot to each one of those, maybe?
All right. It's between the Corey Feldman and the Deep Dark. So give me the plots for those.
Okay. So, Deep Dark. A failed sculptor discovers a strange talking hole in the wall. It has the power to fulfill his wildest dreams and become his worst nightmare.
I mean, this movie. Let's pick this movie.
You sure you don't want to hear the other thing?
All right, we can hear the other film, but I mean, how can it compare to a hole that fulfills
Talks
all
to you?
my...
I don't, because you don't know the
deepest,
full
darkest
context
dreams.
of this one. Okay, so the other one is called Splatter. After a self-righteous rock star, Johnny Splatter puts a bullet in his own head, only 5 people are chosen to attend the reading of his will. The manager, the shrink, the guitarist, the lover, and the groupie. Will they get what is coming for them, or will Splatter... Or what Splatter thinks they deserve. Now, here's the caveat to this. This one's only 29 minutes long because it's a failed TV pilot for Netflix.
What?
It wasn't picked up by Netflix, so it's only 30 minutes long, and you can look it up on IMDb. It says 2009 and it just never ends, and there's supposed to be 10 episodes. Both? We could do both, yeah.
I mean, we could watch the Glory Hole movie, because we're definitely going to have so many Glory Hole jokes to make. So many Glory Hole jokes. I mean, a hole that fulfills your wildest dreams? Come on! What else is it going to be but I put my dick in the hole? I mean, give me a break.
Wait. Okay, look up Deep Dark on IMDb.
If this guy does not put his weenie in that Deep Dark...
Look up the poster to this movie and tell me how much you want to put your dick in that.
All right, hold on. Oh! I stand by my statement previous.
Wonderful.
I mean, wipe the hole down, for God's sakes. That's why you hose down your holes. Hose down your holes, or hose down your holes. Yeah, so maybe we'll watch the other film. What's the name of the other film?
Splatter. So, yeah, because we have 2 weeks to do this because we're taking a little break next week. Yeah, if we can watch both of them, which I will definitely be able to do, but you don't have to.
Okay.
Deep Dark is going to be the main film. Unless we really, really, really want to talk about Splatter. Because I'm very curious as to why this wasn't picked up. It has to be terrible. It wasn't picked up by Netflix.
And they pick up everything.
They pick up everything.
They pick up the trash.
They pick up so much trash.
They pick up everything.
They pick up so much trash. Here's the deal, guys. I try to give Orange is the New Black a go. Couldn't get into it.
No? I got like halfway through the first season. It was okay.
I got about halfway through the first season. I'm like, fuck this. I am, however, watching Castle Rock on Hulu.
Oh, yeah, me too. It's fantastic.
Holy fucking
It's the best show I've seen in a while.
It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, if you're not watching Castle Rock on Hulu right now, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, new episodes every Wednesday, and we're only 8 episodes in. So I'm really looking forward to this Wednesday.
It's like every episode you think, where can this show go? And then it goes to the next place, and you're like, fuck yeah, this is exactly where I wanted this to go.
No. Okay, so you're all caught up then, right?
No, don't do any spoilers on the show.
Watch that show instead of Mom and Dad, guys.
So fucking good. Watch that besides anything else. Don't even watch... Just turn this off. Anywho, Dan, how are you? How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I want to talk more, but we're already way over. And I feel like we talked about nothing. That's what this film accomplished.
I know. It's like we talked about nothing. It's fucking out of control. So, all right, follow us on Twitter, oldboys_podcast. We're on SoundCloud. We have links there that lead to Podbean. Podbean is the main place. Go to podbean.com, search Old Boys Podcast. You will find us. I think we're on like Snapchats or Snapcharts or something. I don't
No,
fucking
we're
know.
not on Snip Charts yet, but we are on Instagram and Twitter.
Yeah, there we
and
go.
All that other good stuff.
Yeah. So please tell people if you like the show, like let people know. For fuck's sake, tell people. It's the only way we'll get other people to listen. It's word of mouth. We don't do advertising anymore. We don't. We're a small place. We're small people. We're just two men exploring these wish holes and seeing where it takes us. Oh God, I hated all that. Dan, you have the final word.
Can we just never watch a film that makes us cry again? Because I'm sorry. I feel like my presence is not there, and I feel like Jared's presence was not there. I feel like we could have done better with this one, but maybe if the films were better in the first place.
That's when you shrug. You just shrug and go,
No, I'm just kidding. This
is CNN.
How many final words can I have? I'm not satisfied yet. You can cut me off whenever you feel like it, but I will keep talking.
Oh, no.